All right, we are live, and we have not one but two special guests today. I think AJ left us because Randy did such a great job of handicapping last week. But the gentleman below us is extremely overdressed for the Triple Clowns channel and the DGen channel. His name is Matthew from the Win Place and Show podcast. I love your description on Twitter. You are a lover of sports, dogs, and travel.
Yes.
I love it. As in Matthew and I hung out at the Maryland Millions together, struck up a fast friendship, and said, "Hey, anytime you want to be on our show," and he said, "Let's do it." So we're doing it, and then we have Randy pitch hitting for AJ again. So Randy, welcome.
Hey, thanks a lot for having me on this fantastic show. And to everybody out there, Off the Rail fans, I'm here for AJ. So I have three words for you, and you can guess what they are. You are welcome.
That's great. Yeah. Yes, we're going to be doing Parx, but Matthew, before we talk too much into the picks, who are you? What do you do? I mean, you have a podcast, but I know you've had a couple heavy hitters on your podcast. What do you tell us what you do?
Yeah, sure. So thanks again for having me on. This is wonderful. Really enjoyed our time together at Maryland Millions and interacting on social media. So this is a lot of fun to be here and go through some picks with Parx. What I will say is my show, I typically do kind of one preview a week where I will kind of go to the biggest race that week, whether it's at Del Mar, Saratoga, Keeneland, wherever, Parx, Laurel Park for things like that. And I'll typically cap the graded stakes races for that particular weekend. And then I also have on guests from across the horse racing industry. Before the Breeders' Cup, I had on Donna Brothers from NBC. She was great and wonderful with her time, very sweet, and just kept telling like old war stories about Steve Asmussen, like 1981 in Alabama, running horses. And I was like, all right, like we can talk about this for 45 minutes. That's fine.
That's so cool.
So it was great. And then, and other folks like Jessica Paquette, who, is an analyst down at Colonial, and actually helped out at Parx for Pennsylvania Derby Day.
That's right. Yep.
Some things like that. So I try to have people from, like I said, from across the industry on, just talk to them, pick their brains, talk to Acacia Courtney from Naira. It's just great to kind of hear those people and what they're thinking when they are capping those races live and how they change their minds in the paddock so often and how they evaluate horses. I think that's one of the great things. As much as I might be confident in my picks, I'm always eager to listen and learn from other people and hear what their methodologies are, how they're approaching capping different races, because it can end up having a positive effect on my future capping. So that's kind of part of what I enjoy doing with the show.
Much smarter than I am. That's
not really saying that much, but he sounds smart. He sounds very smart.
No, but that seriously, that's how you grow as a handicapper. You can't just be like, oh, hey, these are my picks. Yeah, you have to. Yeah, believe it or not, I even learned from Randy. Not so much the other guy, but but no, seriously, you got to look at all angles. Like Randy and I were having a conversation the other day. He works with My Racehorse. He's close with a couple guys on TVG, and they all have the sheets, but they don't use like what Randy and I do, like the forums. And they're all right. They're always going back to you, right, and saying, "Hey, who do you like here?"
It's so old school. It's such a number driven thing. They see the small number on the sheets, and it's just about that. They almost, not that they forgot, but they. That's a good word, Keith. I was just reading it. They get tunnel vision on just the numbers, and now you have to play these horses and things like that. And you're always learning. But the harder part with the handicapping is, which I'm sure you're probably going to run into if you haven't yet, is where you draw that line. Yeah. Where you draw the line, have too many angles, make a case for every horse, and that's the hard part. Yeah. And I really think race breakdown is the biggest thing. If you can figure out how the race is going to break down, which is the most impossible thing, I think that's the one that no one can go away from. If you can see how the race goes around the first turn, you should be able to hit the race.
Yeah.
Should.
That's the truth. It's funny. This past weekend, I capped Woodbine.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
That was, the Bessarabian, that Lady Spate Spear one. I mean, that was one of those where, every once in a while you can just see a race crystal clear. And it was just one of those where I looked at that race and I said, the early speed is not intimidating. She's going to sit right off of it, and then she's going to have plenty in the tank to just blow away. And that's exactly what she did. And so, yeah, I mean, numbers be damned. At some point, if the race just plays out the way you think, it's going to work. So
That's bingo.
Absolutely. And you saw one of ours at Woodbine and did the same thing. Duke of Love early.
Yeah.
Yeah. Up the rail. That said a lot for the rest of the day. And that's handicapping right there.
It is.
Yeah. Oh, well, speaking of handicapping, last time we covered Parx, someone not named AJ gave out the big Philly pick 5, and let's try to do it again. We've got a lot of love from Chris at Parx, so Chris, thank you for everything that you do and sharing what we do. But we're going to start with race 6, and Matthew, how we do it around here, we go around the horn. I'll give out my picks. Randy will copy them, and then we will go.
Them out.
We'll go.
I eliminate them.
We'll go with you. So race 6, we are going. We're going 6 furlongs on the Pennsylvania dirt, and I went 3 deep here. I started with 4, the number 4 horse, Cobble Hill, something that we're just talking about. Pace makes the race. And I think this horse is definitely a pace setter. He had a pretty decent last race. I think it could be only at 6 furlongs. Could be one of those wiring horses. But I tried to cover my bases here. I do like the 7 with Paco in the irons. Star Luck. I love it's one of those things. It's not neither good nor bad, but I do like my geldings. Just because I am one myself. No, I'm kidding. I'm not too worried about that layoff, and he's coming first off the claim as well. Yeah. I think he's going in the right. The Star Luck is going in the right direction. You look at his last 3 races; he's constantly improving. He went from 3 to 2 to 1. I like Paco. Paco's been a busy man. He was down in Gulfstream. He's at Parx. He's earning his money. Shoes boy, right? And then I do like that 9 Indian Counselor. Once again, my boy Jamie Ness first off the claim. If we know anything about following Tom, he loves Jamie Ness first off the claim, and this horse is coming in looking sharp with Ruben in the irons. Has a very, as it says in Brisnet, a suspicious dropping class. Which I like because it is. Yeah. I mean, he was just a couple starts ago. He was running at Belmont, but yeah, it is a suspicious drop in class. So I went 4, 7, 9, and depending on how I do the first few races, I might put that as a trifecta as well.
All right. Okay. It's funny you said that. Yeah, Ness, and let me ask you: is he big on that? Is that does he have any tendencies at this track at all?
Well, he has this. Actually, the next race is my pick of the day. It's a first off the claim coming from Churchill in that race 7. But he must have just gone down. The Delaware ended. He must have just gone down to. He probably must have claimed maybe a dozen horses, all from the Midwest, all from Churchill, a couple from Canterbury, and they are all firing the past 2 weeks at Parx. One came. I got a price on one yesterday. It paid $9 to win. It was like paid $9.20 to win first off the claim. It's one of those angles that I think we four out of the past 5 first timers or second time off the claims. They've won. So to answer your question, long-winded, yeah, Randy.
Okay, great. All right, so I'm going to go with. So I'm going to go right off the bat here, and I know I won't disappoint because I'm going long shot right away, and I know people expect a little bit of that from me. I'm going to tell you why, and this makes no sense on this horse, and that's the 6. Rule.
I'm with you, man.
I knew somebody would be because this horse should not be 12 to 1. This is ridiculous. I don't understand it. Twirling Candy horse this horse could get the lead, and it's one of this price, one of this length.
Could be a wire.
I don't understand. Like, this makes no sense to me. PA bread, baby. Let's go, Homer. What do you guys think? I know. Listen, that's you, Tom. I'm
All
going for
right.
you here.
All
So
right.
6. I'm all about it here. Give me 12-1. There's no way this horse goes off 12-1. If it does, steal it. I mean, it's what it is. I mean, so let's just go right there. I'll start off with the 6. I got to play the 6 right here. Can't not play this horse, especially at 12-1. Probably use them in exotics and things like that. I'm going to go with the 9 as well. I think this is a big drop. It was weird. That's why I kind of asked. When you buy a horse for a certain amount of money, then you bring him into a lower thing. I mean, he knows the claiming game more than I do. Let's see what happens. But I mean, this horse definitely at 4-1. And once again, that's not bad for that horse. And listen, and like I said, I'll probably play those 2 horses. But if you're going to ask me to play another bomb here, I think this 5 had something going on. This would be a bomb play, but I'm going to go 6-9. I think this 5 could press the pace more than people think, and could be around as well. So I'm going to go 6-9, maybe sprinkle the 5, but I'm going to 6-9.
Yep. Yeah. So I'm kind of a perfect Venn diagram of you two, because I absolutely love the 6 as well. I was shocked when I saw the morning line was 12-1. This is a horse that, it's a horse that could ruin a lot of cards because it can wire the field or it could just absolutely get cooked. And I mean, I think that's the concern is there too much speed in this race? And then you have to kind of look at that next tier of the horses that are going to clean up the pieces if they're going out way too fast. So, but at the same time, at 6 furlongs, I think that's just short enough that it can wire the field. And so I really like that 6. And it's one of those where I would just be kicking myself if I did not include this horse on the pick. And I'm like, and definitely as a play that I would have in all my exotics as well, because it's just going to make everything richer. And I agree. I doubt it's going to actually go off at 12-1, but if it does, I mean, even if it goes off at 8-1 or something like that, I mean, that's still
It's a
great
gift.
value. Yeah. So I really like that. I'm with you though, Tom. The 7, I think, is also just will probably be right up there with the 6 in terms of early speed. So I do like that 7. I think it's got maybe a little bit more class than the 6 does, and might just have a little bit more stamina. If the 6 fades, I think the 7 might still be able to be there and pounce, won't be completely worn out. And then I also identified the 9, Indian Counselor. I think that's a horse that I also noted that cutback in distance. That's a play that I just like to make a lot of times, particularly when you look at, you're going from a mile plus down to 6 furlongs. That's a really pretty significant cut in distance. So I like that. Ness Silvera. I mean, I know enough about Parx to know that you don't bet against Jamie Ness very often. And so, or if you do, you're going to lose a lot of money. So that Ness Silvera connection, I always like to play. So I have it 6, 7, 9 are my 3 in that race.
Excellent. And Dennis made a good point. I do like that 10. That's a lifetime Parx horse. I played that horse. I've won money with that horse. I've lost money on that horse. Yeah. It's one of those horses that kind of always finds himself in the mix. I wouldn't be against. I mean, I wouldn't be against it, especially like you said, Dennis, cutting back in distance. I remember when he won. I think he went. He was kind of a bomber that I was lucky enough to get. But yeah, a lot of interesting choices. Cindy's on the 3, 6, 9 here.
Yeah, I'm a little worried about the 10 only because I believe 2 of its 3 career wins are on the slop. And so yes. I do worry about that. And the weather's going to be beautiful up at Park. So It's going to be fast and dry. And so that was one of the things. It's a very consistent horse. If you're putting together exotics, I think it's worth including, but I just didn't have enough confidence that the horse would actually win to include it here. But very good horse.
And I was with you guys with the Star Luck until I did see. And just to bring it up, the first off the claim, not a very good percentage for this.
That's true. That is true. I saw that as well.
And with the move, So that worried me a little bit. And 2-1, like I said, I mean, this horse could wire the field. But if that was the one at 2-1, I was like, let me throw it out.
Fair enough. All right, moving along to race 7. Randy, you want to be our Ricky Anderson here?
Lead it off. or just refer to myself in the third person? Because I can do that as well.
Both. You know, let's
Well,
jazz it
Randy's
up.
gonna go now. Listen up. Well, Randy in race 7 has all right. I think I'm going with you, Tom. I think you kind of gave way. I'm going very big Ness here. Striking a pose, I am very big on. I think this horse is one coming from the claim, like you talked about. So I don't even have to talk about that much because I know you already have a whole thing about this one. Pennington Ness, 2-1. Give me this horse, definitely. And also the other, well, here's the horse that I think can beat the Ness horse, and that is Road to Success, the 10.
Linda Rice.
Road to Success with Carmouche in the irons. I just think this horse is possibly the best horse in the race and possibly the fastest horse in the race. So come from Saratoga, Belmont, Gulfstream. I know that's not always translates, but I think this horse has the distance, has everything. I think this horse could sit, is going to have to break from out there. So it's going to have to pick its spot.
That's true.
Do I think it's going to have a lead? I don't know, but I think it could at least sit in the pocket close. So I'm going to go with the 10 here. And so I'm just going to go probably too deep. And I know it's not, it's pretty chalky with the 210. And I probably will have to throw the other Ness horse in there because you know, when you play one trainer in the higher odds, and you always get people in the higher odds. So
The 9.
the 9, yes, this I'll defend, but I'm going to go 210, but possibility I throw in the 9 as well.
Yeah. So I really like the 10 as well. And I think this is a horse that I agree with you. I think will have to break well, but I think there's absolutely the potential this horse gets out on the lead and just lopes along and is able to set a really reasonable pace. Unlike the last race, I don't expect for this to be some speed demon race the first quarter or half a mile. It's interesting when I was looking at the information on time form, you know, I thought maybe the 1 or the 6 might be in the lead. I don't see the 1 or the 6 going for the lead here necessarily. I think the 10, if it breaks, is going to be right there, and I don't think it's going to get pushed. So I really like that 10 quite a bit. And just because like I said, I just don't think it'll get pushed too much for the lead. I like the 2. I don't like the 2 quite as much as both of you. I'm just a little worried because I think the pace will be reasonable, and this is a horse that likes to come from way behind. And I just don't know if this horse is going to have the speed to run into in this particular case, if that pace is reasonable. So that's the only thing I'm wary about. I like betting closers, but I like betting closers when I know there's a lot of speed up front.
That's my first note could need to make up lots of ground. That's what I wrote.
Yeah. And so that kind of worries me. And so I actually like the other, and you mentioned him, the 9. I like the 9 a little bit more of this. I'll defend. Had some nice races up in New York, I thought, and I think is kind of finally getting the right distance and surface. This is a horse that's been moved around a lot on distance and surface, has gone from turf to route to sprint to dirt, and has been taken off the turf and so forth. I think we're finally probably on the right distance and turf. So I like it. Horse doesn't win all the time. It just kind of gets close, which is concerning. But so I'm going to go with the 10 and the 9, but I'm also going to go with the 4. This is a horse that I really like. I think this is a horse that should get a good trip, should be kind of in a stalking position, and will be able to kind of make a jump for the lead, out of all of the horses, probably the soonest. So Diablo d'Oro. So I like that 4 a little bit there. So I'm going to go 9, 10, 4 for mine.
All right. No, good luck on that 4.
Yeah, I know. It's a long shot.
Don't mind the 4.
No, hey, no, we gotta make some money.
Exactly. Yeah.
Hey, already talked about the 2 ad nauseum. The 2 is obviously on my ticket, and I do like the 10, the Linda Rice horse with Kenrick in the irons. Linda doesn't come to Parx too often. When she does, she has a pretty decent track record over the past couple of years. I don't have the figures, but I remember she won earlier in the year with some random horse, and it's like when Linda Rice comes to Parx, she knows what she's doing. And I wanted to take this 9 off, but I could kick myself if I didn't. I love Abner Ordino, irons One thing that's interesting is that Jamie Rodriguez is not on either of those, which is a good thing. But I do like the 9 had very recent works that I liked as well. So that without that last works, I might have just gone too deep, but I think the 9 looks like it's ready to fire. So I went to 9, 10. Nothing too crazy in this race for me.
Yep.
All right.
And we're moving right along to race 8, where we're going to mile 16th. I'm gonna need to wear my reading glasses. I can't see that. Wow.
Getting old, bro.
I know it. Matthew, you wanna start us off here, race 8?
Sure thing. So in race 8, we'll start with the favorite Bonita Lassie. I think this is a horse that, is shipping in from Penn National, which, I grew up in this area. I used to go to Penn National all the time. I am just somewhat suspicious of Penn National sometimes, but because my dad would always joke when I was a kid, the next stop was the glue factory. So
True.
it was one of those things.
Or even worse than the glue factory, Finger Lakes.
Exactly. So that's why I'm always cautious. But this does look like a really nice horse. I think that this is a horse that kind of comes from off the pace and can really pass a lot of horses and can make up a lot of ground late. Has won 3 of 9 career starts, hit the board 7 out of 9 times, won 3 of the last 4 races out, kind of improving speed figures each time. And like I said, I expect for there to be a little bit of a pace behind the 5 and the 10. So I think that there's going to be something for her to run into. So I like including the 6 on all my picks. And then I also like the 3 Magic Girl. I think that's a little bit more of a bomb, but I think this is another horse that should get a pretty nice trip and can come from well off the pace. Has run on some pretty decent, has run on some kind of better trips at Delaware Park recently, and has run against some big time competition and gone against some better speed at Gulfstream and even other parks races in the past. So I think this is, even though from a classification standpoint isn't really that much of a step up or step down, if you look at this race in Time Form US, I mean, this is a horse that's run in better fields and better races before. So I like that 3 a little bit. And then I think I'll probably take the 10 as well. So I'll go 6, 3, 10. I think the 10 should be one of those early speed horses. Yep. And we'll see how much the 5 pushes. If the 5 pushes, maybe it's too much of a pace. But so I'll go 6, 3, 10 on mine.
Wow, I've got to stop letting you go in front of me.
Do you have the same thing?
No, not the exact same thing, but
Okay.
I really the 6. You pretty much said everything that there is to say about him. I mean, he's hitting the board. It's what I think 6 of this past 6 races. So yeah, I think it's what we were talking about beforehand. This is how the race should shake out. This is a good looking horse.
Yeah.
And I do like that 10. Again, horse is firing. Hit the board 3 of the past times, and that my exact note. He's the pace setter for the 10. The one horse that I had that you didn't have, which is a horse that I really like, and I think if we get it at 5-1 tomorrow, it will be a gift. Is Charity Stripe, the 7. This horse has won 17 times. It's got a hell of a jockey trainer combo, and it's got some of the best dirt speed, and it's going to be a relatively chilly afternoon. Dirt is going to be we're going to be fast and firm. Charity Stripe, talk about a horse for course. This horse knows this course. So I'm going 6, 7, 10, and if I would love it if it's stuck at 5-1, but it'll probably be 2-1 by the time it goes off.
All right. Well, I think you should just give your money to charity instead with that horse, because I see a decline in a 7-year-old that I don't really like. That's kind of worries me a little bit with Charity Stripe, because I did look at him, Tom. I can't say anything more about the 6, but I'm going to say a setup. I have the 10 as well. I have the 10 going to the lead, but I also think there could be pressure in this race. And I'm going to give you a horse that if this horse is in front of the 6, if a pace duel happens, It's got to be in front of the 6. And that's the 2. Gold included. Golden Sense horse. It's got to be in front of the 6, though. Not going to be the 6 if it's talking trip. Sometimes with the 6, the 2 could do what I think the 6 could do more easily. But at 10 to 1, I'm going to play that horse. So I'm just going to go into with that because I have everything you guys said with it. I'm going to go 6, 10. Well, 2, 6, 10 for mine.
Yeah, that 2 won a couple of races ago, just back in October with both same jockey with Bowman in the irons. That's a good horse.
Jumping up a little bit. I mean, he's staying on dirt, second time on the dirt in a row. I just think this is closing speed, and if there's a pace still up front, like I said, the 6 I think will become an even better, but the 6 could get in some trouble here, and that's what I mean. If I'm going to play the 6, I almost have to throw in this 2 at 10 to 1, just because. I mean, 6 is a horse. Wow.
Yeah, that's a good point about the 6. I mean, I think as much as the pace should set up well for it, you just never know. I mean, the problem is with sitting pretty far back, how much are you going to be able to weave through horses? How are you going to be able to navigate the field? How wide are you willing to take this horse out down the stretch? So absolutely. I think there's still caution there. As much as I like the 6, there's still some caution flags for how that trip's going to work out.
Yeah, it's always hard betting that horse that could be a trouble horse. And just because how the race sets up, it's so much easier to bet a Knicks go. That's like you're gonna know in the first turn if you have a winner or not.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what I mean? And you're gonna know, and it just feels better on the soul.
And it's also tougher. I feel like on turf, you're looking for horses that are good at coming from behind and good at kind of passing.
That's
Whereas
true.
On dirt, that's a riskier proposition because, I mean, how many times have we seen races, like you said, just determined at the first quarter pole, and you just kind of put your hands up and you're just go, all right, well, I'm losing this one. And you just, you go to the betting window for the next race before the last one even ends. So,
most horses, if you know a horse well enough, and you watch that horse, at the quarter pole if they have a shot or not.
Yeah.
And trouble horses, you're like, oh my God. It must have been like watching, we talked about it in Dubai, like Arrogate getting sandwiched and breaking glass.
Sure.
I mean, everybody probably just ripped their ticket up and then he runs a 130 something Buyers.
Yeah, right.
That doesn't happen often.
No, it doesn't. Wow. All right.
But it's funny, it's funny, Tom, just to digress for a second. I remember at Maryland Million Day, there was a horse that I liked a lot, Luna Bell, who ran in one of the juvenile races. And she just ran again this past weekend. And the exact same thing happened. She acts like she's Mind That Bird, and she goes 15 lengths off the pace. And I'm just, what are we doing? And then she just comes with this furious charge at the end, but it's too late. And I'm just like, will somebody just get this horse closer to the lead at the beginning?
And that's like the jockey in the train. The jockey probably thinks he's Pat Day or something.
Well, listen, you know how many times I've screamed at Rosario? And he's as great as they can be, but he's like, are you moving now? Oh, you're moving now. Oh, okay. Great closing second. I mean, he wins all the time, so it's hard not to, but
it's hard not to. So it looks like the people in chat are spreading pretty far in this race 9. Let's dig into it. Race 9, which I didn't go too deep. We're going a mile and 16th. On the Pennsylvania dirt. And I started out with the number 2, Icy Dude. I do like the drop in class. I like going back to La Prada. Jeremy La Prada. He was off. He won, and then they put Dexter Haddock in the irons and came in second. This is a pretty good looking horse. He's won a couple races. He closed well last race, even he finished second. When we're going this far, I always like to look at a late pace, somebody who's got a little bit of a late kick, and this 2 does in fact have that. I also like the 4 flat out flying. Cal Lynch is primarily a Delaware trainer, has a few down in Maryland and a few in Parx as well. He's 1 for 4, which isn't too shabby at at Parx. But this horse I saw in person, that Delaware back in October, looked like a beast. Running then in October, and I have him here. I also like of course, yes, of course, I do like the 8 flat out flashy. Could we get flat out? I feel sorry for Chris Griffin if flat out flying and flat out flashy are running running neck and neck, because if that's got to be some the tongue twisters. But I like this number. I like the 8 flashy going a mile. I do like I think going a mile and 16th is exactly what this horse needs. I think he likes the distance. And again, we're going back to Frankie Pennington in the irons, and Jamie as the trainer. So yeah, I did 2, 4, and 8.
All right, 2, 4, 8. I'm pretty simple here. I'm going. I mean, I know. Listen, when the race is a mess, I go with Ness, and I'm going with him. Both horses. I really am here. I think. And listen, if you gave me, I think Flat Out Flashy is just flat out the best horse in this race. I don't see another horse, and I think this horse will have a perfect stalking trip. I really do. I think this is one like we talked about. I don't think this horse is going to be in a bad spot. I don't think the 10 is going to, chop his head off at all. I think it's going to be fine. Sit third, fourth, maybe second, and be fine. I really, really like the 8 here. And if the 8 kind of gets into a duel or something happens where he gets tested up front, you got to go with the other Ness horse here. That's running really, really well right now with the 9. So I don't think it's that spreadable here. I see what you're saying with Icy Dude. I went back and forth about the 1 and the 2. Another couple horses that I thought might have just too much ground to make up on not a fast pace. So
no, it's going to be one of those ones that just trugs along.
Yeah, and Silvera and Ness apparently really good together.
Yeah, they're I think Silvera's going to might get the jockey title. Ness is going to get the trainer's title there.
Yeah, so I was going to go 8, 9. I don't think he's playing games. I think it sets up nice for his horses because we have one that's near the front and one that's closing. So if one gets caught up, the other one can come catch it. So I'm just going to go straight Ness. I'm going 8, 9.
Yeah, that and the 9 is, and you may have seen him down at Colonial, Matthew. I saw him at Delaware. Is a good looking horse. And to Randy, to your point on the 9, Jamie kicked Frankie Pennington off that horse to put his to go over to the 8. So that's something to look at. Quite honestly, Silvera is his preferred rider over Pennington. So that's something to, not sure if that's a. Usually that's a trainer, not an owner.
Well, he's not going to put his favorite jockey on a horse he doesn't think has a shot of winning. That's for sure. And obviously,
well, that's true. And when you see Jagger Incorporated, that means Ness owns the horse, which he owns the 9 flat out. At number 8, he has some partners. It's Morris Curran and Jamie as well. So Jamie owns that 9 flat out. So that's good. That just might say you something. Whenever you see that, it's Jagger. That's Jamie, 100%.
Yeah, and it's just to follow up on the point you both made. If you look at the trainer stats for Ness at Parx, I mean, it's as if they're running on a different track. I mean, he's got like almost twice the number of wins that the next closest trainer has. I mean, this is just, we might sound like broken records, but honestly, just betting Ness just about every race is not a bad pick. And there's a reason he's just absolutely dominating the trainer standings right now. And Silvera is doing great as a jockey as well. I also had this as I went with 8, 9. Also, I think these are just 2 really good horses. I really like the 8. I completely agree with everything Randy said. I think the trip sets up perfectly. I think the 5 and the 10 are going to get out there in the lead. I think the 5 is going to absolutely die because that's what it does. And with about a furlong and a half to go, it's just going to give up about 10 lengths. I think the 10 is, Tom, to your point, not going to set anything unreasonable. out front. So I don't think it's going to be a crazy pace. So I really like the trip that 8 is going to get. And then I just think the 9, I did see it at Colonial. And, the 9 is a really interesting horse that is very good on both surfaces. And you don't see that very often of a horse at this level who can win on dirt and can win on turf. And this horse can. And so I always like horses that show that type of versatility, because you typically get a little bit better value there, because people see the turf recently and even just running off turf and they go, it's a turf horse. I don't know about betting it on a dirt race, that sort of thing. And so, 4-1, I think is pretty good odds. I did include one other here in addition to the 8-9. I also went with the 1. I know Randy kind of mentioned it. I think that inside, I think the 1 might get a ground saving trip. And there was enough there that intrigued me about the 1 that I didn't want to not include it in the ticket. And it's a horse that's just kind of always around there in the lead. Doesn't. And again, it's finished in the money. I want to say like 7 of the last 8 times or something like that. So it's a really consistent horse. Now, doesn't win, finishes second and third a lot, which is a concern, but it's in the mix. And that's just something that I was a little worried about. So I threw the 1 in as well.
Hey, and the more I'm looking at this 9, guys, you may have, that's why I write everything in pencil. Because I'm looking at it, and this horse is really, this 9, and we'll move on after this, but really coming into his own this year. Raced 10 times. He's got his picture taken 3 of those 10 times, finished second 4 times.
He's a week and a half of being 7 for 7.
He is. You guys may have, and he's hard spun. He's coming from hard spun, which is not too bad of a dad to have.
He's a $335,000 horse as well.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is probably the most expensive horse in this race.
I would think so. I would think so. He's not a $10,000 horse that they found on the side up there in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania.
The 6 is $1,000 horse, by the way.
My wife's horse is $1,000 horse.
I was gonna say I had a $1,500 horse at one point. Yeah, I just sat there and ate a lot of grass. I mean,
yeah. Well, we're at race 10 already. We're moving along. Race 10. We're only going 6 furlongs here. And it's funny, Matthew. You mentioned the 1 last race. That's the first one that anybody has picked thus far, and the rail at Parx has been. It's not like the rail at the Maryland Million where it was so golden, but it is the rail at Parx is winning at a pretty good clip, and I really do like this 1 year in race 10. Switching, I love the jockey, I love the trainer. He won last race. I think this is a good horse sitting right there on the rail, just putting that together. And I'm also, pace makes the race, but class also makes the race too. I think that this horse is the class of the race. I also like the 8. Reiterate, great power figure numbers here. Almost 3 points higher than the second and third ones. Excuse me. And I also like him at this 6 furlong distance. It's just, I think we look at some horses and the distance sometimes people don't really get. Like, okay, well, why is he only running 6 furlongs? Why isn't he running? We already covered a mile and a half, mile and 16th. I think this horse is gonna love this 6 furlongs. It's one of the trainer put him in here for a reason. And I think that the 8 could win this race. I also, my final horse here is the number 10, Sunday Inn. It's got Ruben Silvera in the irons. Someday Farms, the JT Service is the trainer, John Service's son, Smarty Jones connection there with also obviously with Someday Farms. But I do like that. I do like the 10. And I'm sorry that JT Service is the trainer there at 8-1. Switching over to Ruben. Jesus, I'll take that all day. So I just went 1-8 and 10.
1, 8, 10. Tom, I love your one here too. Creative Love. I do. I like that horse. I think 5-1 is a gift with this horse. Could sit on a perfect kind of trip as well, as we talked about before. He's at the rail. I don't think he needs the break from it. 3-year-old filly. He's got 11 starts though. It's scary, especially fillies near the rail. A lot of times, they don't want to be there. But I think this horse will be okay. 11 races in. I like. It's funny. D-Rest brought up Brazilian Bay. I think it's odd because I think this is one of those horses that might clear and might go to the lead here. And I don't know how many horses are going to be chasing this horse. Don't throw this horse out at all. I'm going to play this horse as well. I went back and forth with the 5 and the 12 because I thought this would be speed. The 5, let's not sleep on this 5. If we're going deep here, let's not sleep on this 5. This 5's got decent numbers. I think better at 6. I mean, I don't. It's it's a bird maker horse out of Empire Maker. I don't think this horse is that bad. If you throw out a couple of the races, if that horse can get loose on the lead, that's all I'm saying. So I'm going to really go 1. I like your 8 as well. I just think might be just the best horse in the race. But I'm going to go heavy 112. That's going to be my big play, but I might throw in the 5-8 as well. But I'm going to go 112.
Yep. Yeah. If we're going to see a price, I think if we're going to see another price, I think it could be this race.
Yeah. No, I like you guys. I'm with you on the 1. I thought that was, I think that's the horse. Just love it. Has won it. Had comparable and even better, $12,000 claimer 3 times out and won. And so this is, $7,500 claimer. So like this horse quite a bit. And I think you guys have nailed it on the head there. I will talk a little bit more about the 5. I really like that 5 Tough Bird. And I'll tell you why, because I think the 5, and Randy, you mentioned if you throw out the last couple of races, if this horse gets on the lead, and that's the key, is when this horse gets pushed back, it runs like crap. And so if the jockey is really aggressive and gets this horse out there in the lead, good things tend to happen. This horse, it finishes, either wins or finishes on the board when it gets out there in the lead. And so I think this horse, without any clear definitive speed in the field, I agree with you. I think Brazilian Bay is probably there too, but it's not as if it's overwhelming in terms of the speed. So I think if I was the jockey trainer, my instructions would be go with that 5 and get out there and get to the lead as fast as you can, because I think a lot of good things happen there. And then I like the 11 Wishes and Dreams as well. I think that's a really good horse. Has been very consistent, won last time out. And I think, is, just consistently hits the board, likes this distance. So, it's kind of racing at this level in terms of the $7,500 claimers. And so I think the 11 also should get a pretty good trip and should be kind of in that maybe 4 or 5 position. And we'll be able to, get a nice stalking trip there. So I go 1, 5, 11 here on the final race. That's the way I'll play it.
1, 5, 11.
I like
And the 5, when you said that,
like
horses do get brave.
Okay.
They get brave. Brave on the lead is a real thing.
Oh yeah.
And there's certain horses that get really brave on a lead, and some of them just don't like being passed. And once they are, they just stop.
Yep.
It happens. But brave on the lead is a real thing. And I think you're right. The 5 could be brave on the lead, and he might not have a challenge to the lead.
That's the thing, is maybe Tom's 8 might challenge, that 12 might challenge or just be happy to sit in stalking position. But yeah, I agree with you guys. I think this is where we might see a little bit of value come in this last race.
And
so.
Keith did say, and I didn't even actually notice the equipment train with he's getting blinkers now too. So he's getting sent.
At 5.
He's getting sent, which he's got to get sent anyway.
Yeah.
But they're really concentrating on him getting sent right now.
Yeah.
So
My concern is that we have 12 horses now. We're gonna have 2 to 3 scratches, and all those prices that we've been talking about. Everything's gonna drop.
Yeah.
Because we're not. I don't think we're gonna see 12 horses. We might, but you guys know just as well as I do that that's probably not gonna happen.
Yeah, especially the last race of the day, you always see typically 2 or 3 scratches from that last race. So,
Yeah,
No
and
one wants to
DRS.
stay there and watch. They want to go home.
That's right. Yeah, and it's the last race of the week too. So because they only race Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, so they're like, all right, let's go to Golden Corral.
Yeah, they got to deal with the track announcer putting Swiss cheese on his Philly cheesesteak. Unbelievable, these people.
I know. And then he acted all, he's like, what's the matter with Swiss cheese? I'm like, come on. Like, what are we talking about here?
It's a French dip. It's a French dip then. That's all I would have said. It's a French dip.
Well, we did it. We actually covered it last night on the weekly show. We did Twitter fights, and we actually covered that on the show yesterday.
Yeah, that's how I know.
It just got released today. Yeah, Randy doesn't read Twitter, so we had to let him know what was going on. But well, and there we have it. There's our Philly Big Five with Matthew, Randy, and myself. And yeah, D-Rest, of course, that's why we like to cover it, because Parx is one of the shadiest mid-circuit tracks in the Union. We're one of the shadiest YouTube shows in the Union. So we go hand in hand.
Look at me. I'm in a police light right now. It looks like I'm being interrogated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does look
my lighting's fantastic.
That's fine. I look like I'm under the opposite. I've got the spotlight on me. But anyway, Matthew, I appreciate you even dressed up for the occasion. I mean,
absolutely.
Randy doesn't have pants on and a sweatshirt. So that's...
You got no sleeves on. Going straight forward.
No, I figured, 1 out of 3 of us, it's pretty good, right?
Yeah.
Hey, I'm wearing a shirt with a collar. Come on.
That's pretty good. Right.
I usually make Randy look classy. So
I got to go to Del Mar, Santa Anita. You guys get that, go to these other tracks. So I have to dress up then. Okay. Give me a break when
these other tracks. Okay. All right. Well, really appreciate you having you on, Matthew. Anything so you do it weekly? Is it your show weekly and you put it out in the podcast world?
Yeah, so it's a weekly show. The Win Play show, you can subscribe on the podcast platform of your choice. My previews are also on YouTube as well, Win Play show YouTube channel, so people can check that out. And then I typically do like a weekly recap that comes out Monday mornings, where I recap the races that took place over the weekend, just kind of give people my thoughts. I like accountability, so I go over what I got right, what I got wrong.
That's great.
And kind of talk to that and say, what did I miss and what get a better, what should I not miss next time, sort of a thing. So yeah, I like to have fun. And then every, couple times a month, I'll have an interview guest on as well. And those are on YouTube and on the podcast. So this has been great. I
like that. And I also, you do something that not a lot of people do, almost like a what have you learned, which a lot of people just throw out our picks, including us, and don't say, well, wow, my one really shit the bed there, and this is the reasoning why. So tip of the cap to you, Matthew, for doing that. Maybe that's something that we can incorporate ourselves, because it is accountable. You have people watching your show and and sometimes even just copying your picks or relying on your picks. And hey guys, this is what we did wrong. This is what we're going to do again. Yeah.
And you listen, I also like to talk about what I got right too. So
of course,
you could toot your horn a little bit as well. It's not all negatives.
Right. A little bit. Well, a little bit. Yeah. There's a lot of there's a lot of backslapping of your own, not your own, but of people's own on Twitter and YouTube. So appreciate what you do.
Yeah, no, I think according to Twitter, I think 98% of people who place pick 3 bets win.
Always win.
I think that's minimum. Everybody wins all the time. So yeah.
Yeah, I guess I'm in that 2%.
Same here, man.
Hey, that's why we're doing it. That's why we're doing it at 7:00 on a Tuesday night, not on TVG. But
we're also putting it out there. No, everybody can just ridicule us about our terrible picks, which
That's
they will.
true.
And when we win, you know what? We win.
We win. Move on to the next one. Yep.
As
But-
long as you give a reason behind it, that's all we care about. That's it.
That's an accurate statement. But cool, Matthew. I appreciate you coming on, and everybody who joined in. Even Dennis Trusty, I'm going to thank. But thank you, everybody. D-Rest, the whole Dennis is a great follow. I don't know if you know. I'm sure you might know him. D-Rest is always a pleasure. He's the very good regular, and the rest of the guys that came in, really appreciate it. Thank you, and we will be here again as we always are next Tuesday with Gary Quill. Mr. GQ is going to be our special guest next Tuesday, and we have a lot of fun stuff on the Triple Clowns channel, including we are going to go back in time to a very special event in horse racing that happens probably before your time, Matthew. No, but we're gonna cover one of the coolest things that happened in horse racing in 1989. So that's going to be released in the next week or so, and we're doing a lot of other fun stuff. That stay tuned. I know we did Hollywood Squares. We got a couple other things up our sleeves. So everybody stay tuned.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks a lot, everybody. And Matthew, always welcome on the Triple Clown Show. That's the bigger show we do. You've passed your audition here at Off the Rail.
Very good.
You did very well. So
yeah, well, yeah. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Look forward to having you guys on the Win Play show sometime too, because I'd love to guest cap with you guys on there.
Absolutely. Yeah, December 2nd or something. We already have a date somewhere.
Yeah, we're doing an Aqueduct for those December 4th races. Yep. So
yeah, no, absolutely. And no, but for real, yeah, and good job, Tom, the show. I see you have some regulars here. Cindy, Keith, I believe. Cindy.
Keith, yeah.
Obviously, Dennis. Yeah, doing some good
stuff.
Mikey
P even popped in, so.
Yeah. You got some regulars coming in here, which is awesome. Good for you.
Excellent. They heard AJ wasn't coming, so they're going to come. So everybody really appreciate it. And Matthew's not only a snazzy dresser, he is a good guy. I hung out with him for 3/4 of the Maryland Million days. So he put up with all my shit. So he passed that. He passed that audition. All right, everybody. We'll see you next week. Good luck. Good luck if you guys are tailing. Thanks, everyone. See you later.